What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going.
Woo!
Woo! And today, this podcast is brought to you by us, Opposites Attract Podcast. Make sure you guys go to our website and you guys can follow the show there. You guys can see all of our social media there. You guys can watch the podcast there. You can listen to it there. And you'll see ways that you can support the show that we'll tell you more about a little bit later on in the episode. But you guys can shop through Amazon and help us out. You guys can also search for our merch on Amazon. And I did that yesterday, and it was kind of hard to find the stuff.
Really?
Like, you have to search Opposites Attract Podcast shirt or women's shirt, and then or phone, and then the pop sockets come up, the phone cases come up, in case you guys want to look at that stuff. And we also have our signing company, Trust Inc., which is trustinkusa.com. We're affiliates with Pinwheel, and we'll tell you guys more about that a little bit later on in the show.
Yes, yes.
Man.
What?
My voice is sounding
hot.
Raspy.
No.
You like it?
What's up, sexy?
You like it, baby?
I like it. I like it a lot. No.
I got it from getting choked. Not by Sonia. Not by Sonia. From dudes. Dudes choking me.
Not any better, okay? Not any better, yes.
So this dude was choking me the other day. No. Yeah, we were practicing chokes in jiu-jitsu, and whenever you do that, man, sometimes it hits a certain spot and you start coughing, and you get like a sore throat.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah. So yesterday we went out and checked out the spot that we're going to be holding our event at.
Yes. We can't even really speak much about purchasing tickets because there's only room for one lucky couple.
They might be sold out by the time you guys hear this, but don't worry, we'll have another event in the future.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be events not only here in Arizona but in other states. I can see that happening. So
maybe, now that I think about it, maybe we could do some kind of Zoom thing or something. Even if it's, I don't know, we'll figure something out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So anyways, we went to go check out the event. My friend owns a kava bar out in North Phoenix here in Arizona. And so we wanted just to make sure that the mic and the speakers, just, the whole setup of it.
Yeah.
And we had a great time.
And to check out where we're going to be.
Yeah. We had a really good time there. It was comedy night.
Yeah. They had a comedy night.
Yep.
So it was kind of like a open mic.
Yes.
Amateur, like it's not like a comedy show at a comedy place.
Right.
It's a kava bar where they allow people to come in and try their stuff out and work their stuff out. What'd you think?
About what?
About the comedy.
The comedy, I liked it. It was cool. It was awkward at times because, sometimes the jokes weren't as funny, and I wanted to help them to not feel so awkward. So then I would laugh at jokes that weren't really funny, but there were some some good people. There were some good comedians up there. Yeah, the girl.
Yeah, there was a girl there that was really good. Man, we got to figure out. It sucks to be like the girl and not give her name, like she did good.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah. And then I put it out on our Facebook member page for anyone that lives out in North Phoenix to join us. And a really good friend of ours, we worked Legal Shield together many years ago. She was 18.
That's crazy.
And so she's now 26, and to see her all grown up, her and her hubby, and just listening to her success and her mindset and where she's going, and it feels good. Cool. It feels good. Like she's like, she's like, I believe it was through, like Legal Shield and, like your mentorship that helped me to see things different, because we were pretty close.
Yeah.
We were pretty close. And that's something that I really loved, was the mentor program we had, and the coaching within Legal Shield is what I absolutely love, because it gave me the opportunity to coach.
Yeah. It's weird because when you do get into businesses like that, I think everybody kind of gets like, you run into those people that they seem like a genuine person that you just want to help out. You know what I mean? And she was one of those people that we had.
And she was hungry.
And she was so young
that,
like it was like the very beginning. Like she had just finished high school probably, right?
She had 18.
Just getting started with her life, and then, trying to figure things out. And we were there to try to maybe see things differently.
Yeah.
But it's
I
pretty
love
cool.
it. And
Yeah.
then just we're
And then
sitting
now
there and
it's
we're
crazy.
talking about parenting because they have kids. So we're over here talking to them about the books that we've read and the guests that we've had on the podcast, and still,
We
helping.
old.
We're
Really?
talking about how
We old.
right.
But no, it was a really good time. I'm really excited about our event.
Yeah.
We've been working on some things, and I feel that this event is really going to help us all get better together, rekindle our love and just really go help each other get through challenges, because in every relationship, doesn't matter how perfect it may seem on the outside, there's always a challenge that's going on within. And so, whatever we can do to help these couples that are coming out to rekindle their love, and we're going to share our story because there are some parts of our journey that were not really talked about, because when you're going through a tough time in your relationship, a lot as a woman, I guess I can only speak for myself at this point, but a lot of my friends have confirmed that when you're going through a tough time in your relationship, and if you don't have someone that you fully trust, that you feel won't judge you, a lot of times we go through this challenging journey alone, and that's exactly how you feel, is alone. And so I really want to just open up our homes to them and read a couple of pages of our journals that, from back in the day when we were at a really tough spot in our relationship, and how we were able to grow through that. Right? Yeah. That's it. Like, grow through that, like learn from that experience, so that we can share what we went through and the things that we did to stay together, and not just stay together, right? It's not like, oh, we just decided to stay together. No, we made the decision to get better.
Yeah.
And our relationship today is more solid than it was when we said, I do.
Yep.
Like there's more love. There's a deeper connection.
We were, obviously we know a lot of the people that are going to be coming to the event, which is cool.
Yes, I'm excited to see everybody.
Point, it won't always be that way. It's going to be more people that we don't know coming to the events, which will be cool in a different way. But because we know some of the people that are coming to our event, I think we kind of talked about how the things that happened in the beginning of our relationship, kind of like we went through some pretty intense things in the beginning.
Yes.
Like we didn't get to ease into a relationship,
Yeah.
We right off the bat, we had to start scrapping,
Yeah.
like
we had challenges that
just
we were
emotional
faced with.
challenges.
Yes.
Like you said before, your sister passed away. My grandmother passed away as soon as we met or we started dating pretty much. And then the whole thing with her kids, and when we took them in, and
My
your mom
sister's
living
kids.
with us, and it was just one thing after the other.
Right.
But when I was kind of thinking about it and kind of looking at some of the just other people that we know, I think not everybody, but most people or a lot of people, they go through difficult things in their relationship. Do you think that it's because like we reflect a lot on that stuff? Not maybe it's not like dwelling on it, but it's just remembering, almost kind of like not a motivation, but as a reminder that we've been through things before. It's not a negative thing. Like, why me? Why did we have to go through this? It's like,
it's gratitude. Like we've
been through some things, and we can handle ourselves. You know what I mean?
And what was your question?
Do you think that it's like sometimes people forget the things that, like all the struggles, like they go through so much stuff, and in that moment they forget all the history that they have, all the things that they've done together,
so easy
all the
to
things
do.
that they've been through that they've had to work out.
Yes, it's so easy to do. I mean, with us, I mean, I think I shared it previously on the podcast before. It's like when you have more good times than bad times, you forget about the challenges that got you to where you are today. Because without those challenges, you and I would not be who we are today. Our relationship wouldn't be where it's at today. And when we decided to have a live event, that's when I started going back into my journals, because I want to bring it. Like, I want to bring our truth. I want it to be so raw. Like, I want to share with them our emotions, the hurt, the tears, all of it.
Yeah.
I want to take them through that journey. And so I started reading our journals. And when I started reading, my journal, that's when I started to remember how bad it was. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. It's how bad it was, because reading that journal took me back to that time where I didn't see the light. Like, I didn't know if our relationship was going to survive. I mean, that's where it was, so no, you do forget. When you get to a good place, you forget about the things that you've gone through. But looking back.
But even still, I think maybe even when you're going, it's just being together for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Anybody that's been together, I think, for a long period of time, you forget some of the things that happened in the beginning.
You know what we forget? You know the things that we do forget?
What's that?
We forget what brought us together. We forget the reasons why we fell in love. We forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that we forget. And we disconnect from that because life happens.
Yeah.
Life gets in the way.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is going back to remember what made me fall in love with you.
Yeah.
And going back to that spark. But like I said, the spark we have today, that's a fire.
It's fire.
That's a fire. Compared to that, we had a spark.
We had a spark before.
We turned that damn spark into a freaking fire, right? When you look at it, and it's like, well, how do you do that after 13 years? How do you turn that? Most people are trying to turn the damn spark. They're trying to get that spark
back.
We've been able to
freaking
turn it into a fire.
Yeah.
And that's what the event's about. I want to help our listeners to turn that spark into a fire, into a flame. Ooh, a forever lit flame that continues to grow.
Yeah.
Because we've been able to figure that out.
That kind of reminds me of what we were talking about.
And it's not to say, by the way, that we're perfect, okay? I mean, there's times where, we want to choke each other out, it's just we've learned how to handle our emotions. We've learned how to communicate from love.
And a lot of the things that when something happens, they don't last very long anymore.
Right.
Like we may get upset or whatever.
It's a conversation.
And it's just like,
it's an apology.
We'll figure it out.
It's a, yes.
Yeah. But I was kind of thinking, you were saying like were you just talking about the
fire?
The fire.
How we forget the things, the reasons why, like, we committed to this relationship, the reason why, we get married, the reason why we have kids together, the reason why we forget about that.
And you were saying like life happens, right? And I think one of the things is that we get so busy, we get caught up in progress and trying to move to a different level, get another position, start a new business.
That's
just
what's
trying to get ahead. I think
but other people are trying to survive. Other people are trying to figure out how they're going to pay the bills, because you know what I'm saying? So there's different struggles. Yes.
But I think there was something that's why, like, I think one of the things that you have to have to progress is you have to have both people. And we talked about it yesterday, or not yesterday, on the last podcast. I think both people have to want to get better in order for it to work.
Yes.
But like we were talking about last week, you can wear somebody down, right?
That's not what I did. I loved you to
kidding.
love.
She loved me.
I loved you to love.
Yeah. But you can use like the techniques of the 5 love languages to bring the other person around.
Yes.
And then you guys can work things together.
Yes.
But there was something that I was listening to in the 5 Love Languages book, and something that's happened to us several times before, because I started getting into the quality time section.
Yes.
And they were talking about something that reminded me of something that we went through, where like you were building your business, the Legal Shield business, or our businesses. And that was like your main focus, right? And quality time, like if quality time is your partner's love language.
Ooh.
And at that time, I think mine was more acts of service. And now it's more quality time. But maybe back then it was acts of service and quality time was second. But maybe it wasn't that far behind. I don't know.
I was just thinking about how the love languages changed.
Because
back then.
Listen, because what I'm saying is that back then you were working like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to have success in whatever you're focused on, your hobby, your career, your business, whatever. If your partner's love language is quality time and you don't fulfill that, they can give 2 fucks about anything that you're doing. Really. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Like my love, pretty much like inside, my love tank is not full. All you're doing is going out and doing your thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to hear about it. Like it's almost, it's annoying to me. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, totally.
And actually you'll start developing resentment.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's funny you brought that up, because I was thinking about that back in the day, because when you're unaware, you're unaware.
And it's crazy because back then, to myself, like I would tell myself, like, I don't care, do your thing. But there was resentment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like deeper inside, now I can see there was resentment.
Really? So that was in the middle of our relationship.
But at the same time, I've never been the type of person to be like, hey, hey, you need to do something different. Or what aren't you going to think about? Or it's always just, I mean, I'm not a controlling person. I don't think anyway.
That's how we work.
You know?
That's how we worked together, because I am so free. And if you were a control freak, we wouldn't be sitting here together.
But maybe not so much, like I don't have to so much be a control freak and come at you in a certain way, but there's a certain way to say things and approach someone so that you can bring something up without them getting resentful or defensive or whatever, you know? But when you come at it like, hey, yeah, why don't you just go to another business meeting or some shit? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, you know, I'd love to spend some time with you. Do you think maybe we could do something this weekend or when's the next time you have that's a different story.
But that's not where Miguel was.
That's not where I was.
It was more like,
go
whatever.
Go do your thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, yeah.
Where today I would probably tell you like, hey, what do you have going on the rest of this today or this weekend or whatever? All right.
Like your voice, your communication is on point today.
Yeah.
You know, versus back in the day.
I've grown.
You have. And we both have grown.
Yeah.
You know, and we've grown together. We have grown as individuals, which is very important when you're in a relationship.
I think we've gotten better together.
Because, yes, we have gotten better together. But we have also gotten better as individuals.
Yeah.
You know, and as I was saying, that is very important, because most relationships, you're so focused on the other person that you forget what brings you joy.
Yeah.
And that also can cause a wedge in the relationship. You know, like you enjoy going to jiu-jitsu. Imagine if I was that woman who was like, wait, what? And then, you know, you're rolling with women there. You know, if I was that type of woman, you know, there would be an issue. There'd be a problem. Yeah. You know, and with me, I love to work out. I love going to the gym, you know.
And if I'm insecure and you're going to the gym every day,
yeah,
you know,
and
it's the same
Yeah. So, but you do have to work through that, because I did have some insecurities because of my daddy issues.
Yeah.
You know, but
that is, that's something that I've never talked to you about. Like, that is different, because it's like jujitsu's weird, or not weird, but for somebody that doesn't do it, like when you go for your first day, it is uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a dude with another dude, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable being that close to somebody.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And then the first time that you have to do that with a woman, it's like, this is fucking weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then eventually, like, you just realize, like, we're training, and that's it. But I've never asked you about that. Like, how did you feel in the beginning? And then what did you think? And what do you think now?
I was fine from the beginning. I was fine. Well, yeah, because I was rolling with Rick, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I didn't even feel uncomfortable with men, women. I mean, I was just like, let's do this. But I think maybe it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't, it never crossed my mind. Even then, because I had insecurities with you, with that whole you leaving out of town and that situation where I felt, when the trigger when I found out what was triggering me.
Yeah.
Even with jujitsu, like I knew you're rolling with, women, but it didn't, for some reason, it didn't bother me. And maybe it's because I know the women, because we used to go to jujitsu together.
And it's not like we're rolling a fucking private session. Hey, come take my private class, just me and you.
But but as a woman, you do have to be insecure, or you have to be secure, knowing that your man is rolling on top.
And I guess for a dude too. I mean, if your wife's in jiu-jitsu or your girlfriend's in jiu-jitsu, you gotta be secure in yourself.
But again, that's all stuff like that's shit that you gotta work on.
Yeah.
It is. If you're feeling insecure as a woman or as a man in your relationship, you have to trace back to the event that brought that insecurity up. And sometimes we don't take enough time to sit with ourselves to learn about, to learn of what's happening within.
Yeah.
But if we pay more attention to our emotions, you'll be able to detect that that emotion, and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Like, this isn't right. This isn't who I am. Why am I feeling this way?
Yep.
But I know many men and women that are that way, that don't allow their wives to work. Are you checking me out right now?
I'm always checking you out. You look hot, babe. Words of affirmation.
That's how you are you. So
you
that
hot.
Wasn't real?
I'm just saying.
You're just saying that to make
I'm
me
giving tips to our listeners.
No.
I'm giving examples during the show.
But yeah.
I told you look pretty fly earlier.
Yeah.
Like it was the 80s. That's how you know we're old.
You old. But no, we're really excited because the event, we're going to get into all this. We're going to get into the 5 love languages. And it's 5 love language with a twist. And the reason why is because the 5 love language, it gave us a foundation to work with, but that's not what brought us to where we are today, because we had underlying issues that we had to work on because of our childhood traumas and events that occurred in previous relationships, right? For you, it was a previous relationship that got you to be the asshole when I first know. How you responded and how you were short and temperamental and stuff like that. So anyways, it's good.
Thanks, babe. No,
I'm trying to throw your shit out there. No.
Throw me under the bus.
Let's keep this interesting.
Yeah. No, it's good. No, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the event. And one of the reasons that we picked the 5, or not really picked the 5 love languages, but that we're so drawn to it, I think it's had the biggest impact. On our relationship, on our marriage. And it's so simple. Like when you listen to the book, when you read the book, it's simple. It's easy to apply. It's easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the one that we've been the most drawn to and we've had the most success with. And that's the one that, like, whenever we talk to people, like, that's the one thing that we tell people about. Like, hey, have you checked out the 5 love languages?
Right. Yeah.
You know, you might want to look at it.
So, this Friday. Okay, so those of you that listen to us know that we went on a camping trip. And for me, when I am thrown off of my regular schedule, especially because I started working out, waking up at 5:30 in the morning, getting to the gym, like I got myself on this routine. And then all of a sudden we go out of town and I'm like, ugh. We get back and it's difficult again for me to get back into that routine. So I missed a few days. Well, last week I ended up going back on a Thursday, a Wednesday or Thursday. And I was sore. It was a Wednesday because I was sore on Thursdays. And on Thursday, they had announced that they were going to have a squat challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, heck no. Because, you know, these girls and dudes have been going there for a while. They've been working out. Like, I'm like, you know, and me, I'm like, I'm not in my best shape. Like, I'm already sore just from working out the day before. Like, I'm not doing this. The
squat challenge.
But then I get challenged. Like, they're like, come on, Sonja, you can do this. Like, I've seen you squat. Like, you can do this. And I'm like, I get talked into it.
Yeah.
And so here I am, you know, Thursday, I come home and I tell you about it. And I'm like, how am I walking up those stairs?
You were crawling up the stairs.
I wasn't that bad. But yeah, I was having difficulties crawling up the stairs.
Crawling up the stairs.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know what I just got myself into, but I'm not backing out. I already said I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it. And not only that, but I have to be there at 6. Yeah. And we live like 25 minutes from the deal. So anyways, before I get there, I'm listening to Rocky, like Rocky Balboa, like the song Eye of the Tiger.
You were literally listening to that?
I know.
No? I'm like, what the? I'm like picturing you at fucking 5:30 in the morning outside the gym listening to fucking Rocky, Eye of the Tiger.
But that's how I was in my head. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, fuck it. Like I'm putting myself in an uncomfortable position. And because I didn't want to do it, that's why I did it. Yeah. Because I have to get used to making myself uncomfortable. I just do. And if it's something that I don't want to do, I need to force myself to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you're doing this. And if you're going to do it, you better do it kind of deal, right?
Right.
And I'm in pain, right? I'm sore. And I'm like, okay, whatever, Sonja. Like, you gave natural birth to 2 kids, natural.
You could do a squat challenge.
You can do this shit. Like, you can do this.
Yeah.
And I remember when you and I started running together, when I start to feel pain, don't talk to me, right? Like, don't talk to me.
She don't want no motivational speeches.
Nope, because I'm
just
motivated.
Shut the hell up.
Shut. Exactly. Because I am when it comes to pain, I am my own coach. Like, I'll get in my own head and start coaching myself. And so I remember, like, when we were running, and I do not like to run. And I was telling myself, Sonja, you got this. Sonja, this is nothing. Same thing. You gave birth to 2 kids, girl. This is nothing. And that's what I've noticed, that's what I do, like, when I'm in a tough situation. So when it came to squatting, before I was in there, that's what I told myself. Like, you got this, girl. You're not going to die. It's a little bit of pain. You're good.
And you crushed it.
So I go in there, and I was so, I'm
You were
focused.
in your zone.
I'm not watching people while they're dropping out, and we're doing this squat challenge. They say it's all over TikTok, but it's like up, down. And then when the music continues to play, you are, what is it called? You're, pressing.
Twerking?
Like you're almost not. No, but you're like pressing, like you're going down and you're holding the squat, but you're moving. You know what I'm saying? At the same time.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell they call it, but you're
just bouncing a little bit.
Yeah,
up and down.
Yeah. Which doesn't make it any better. But I was so proud of myself. I won. And I wasn't proud. Well, I was proud that I won, but I was proud of myself because I put myself in an uncomfortable position.
Is that it?
Yes.
They're just like stepping left to right while they're squatting.
Yeah. And you're just pulsing. That's what it is. You're pulsing.
Yeah.
And then you get back up. And anyway, so when I won that, it was the whole day I felt just amazing because I put myself in an uncomfortable position. Not only that, but I was strong enough mentally to do it. And even if I didn't win, I probably would have felt the same way because I did it anyway.
Nice.
You know?
That's good.
And it's like, well, this is what you got to do. You know, this is what you got to do in life. When something is scary or something is different or something is uncomfortable, you got to do it anyway. And it's been so hard for me to have that just fight within, especially when it comes to writing the book that I just started. You know, just fucking put the pen to paper or your finger to the keyboard and just go, you know?
And I think you got to make this, well, at least for your book, like you got to make the schedule. And like, I think when you get to a certain point, or maybe it is the time, whatever, like to figure out, okay, I'm going to structure this like 30 minutes or an hour or whatever you decide to do, 20 minutes, but you make a decision that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try to write.
Right.
And whether something comes out or not, whether it's bullshit or not, I'm putting something down.
You got to, yep.
And then the next day, maybe you read it over in the 20, 30 hour that you set aside for yourself and you look over what you wrote and you write something else down. But you make that. And I think kind of what you're talking about is getting back to getting used to being uncomfortable again.
Yes. Because we are...
Because we've been very comfortable
we're
for a while.
We're happy. We are in a good place in every aspect of our life.
That's what I was telling you like a couple weeks ago. I think the comfort started when the pandemic started for us. Like the comfort really started kicking in.
Probably because
the business kicked off. We started making more money.
We started eating.
We stopped going out. We started eating in. Like it was a shit show. It was a
fun
It was
show.
fun. And you know what? We were pretty fortunate during the time that it was when so many different things were happening. So it was good, but in an imbalanced kind of way, right?
Do you remember the conversations we would have together?
That we were going to all die?
No. Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
Do you
remember that?
That's what Miguel remembers. We're going to die.
Hey, you know what? So yesterday.
No, you and I were going to take off. But what we were talking about, listen
like
to
living
this,
in the
couples.
forest?
Listen to this. You and I were doing a lot of self-reflection during that time as well, even though we were so off, right? Off our game, off our schedule, right? Like we were succeeding in life.
I think physically and
there was a point.
Like hustle wise, we were off, but mentally, like we were still thinking about stuff.
No, the hustle was on. The business was freaking, my hustle was on.
Your hustle was, yeah.
Yes. But I remember you and I sitting in the backyard and I was feeling guilty for the success that I was having because so many of my friends' businesses, restaurants went under. Yeah. And here I am like, thriving.
Yeah, it doubled or tripled.
Yes. And we also had a conversation about how we felt blessed. Those are my words. Blessed for our relationship. Like because we loved each other. We were stuck under the same roof.
Yeah.
With someone that we can talk to and have conversations with. Like we loved each other. And I'm like, could you imagine being in a relationship where you're like wanting to kill the other person or you just can't get along or be in the same room together and be stuck under the same roof together?
All right, chill. You might be bringing back traumatic memories to people right now.
But listen, during that time, there were couples who really got to reconnect and get to learn.
Yeah. They got closer.
About their spouse.
We got closer.
Yes. Yeah. Because you've never had so many conversations with each other.
Yeah. I remember we were like, could you imagine if you couldn't stand your spouse and now you're locked in the fucking house with them? Oh my God.
That would drive me insane. But I have to tell you when it was happening, share with you all the flip side of it. There were so many divorces that occurred during that time, and so many people that were hurt because they looked at their significant other or partner or whatever and realized that they didn't know them from Adam. Yeah. Right? Yep. And because the relationship was on a fine line, they didn't make it. It didn't survive.
Yep.
You know?
No, I remember that time, and I remember talking to you about it. And I remember thinking, like, I could do this. Like, if it was just me and you in the house.
Yes.
It's like, we could do this. This would be,
It'd be cool. It'd be cool. But could you imagine?
What? If we hated each other?
If it happened back in 2012 where I'm talking about divorce and that, you know,
that would have been the other.
In the world did I get into this relationship? He is everything I did not want. Like I'm reading this journal and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Could you imagine being stuck with each other back then? Like that would have been a nightmare, you know? So I'm so glad that the pandemic happened. No.
Oh my!
When really, we were in a good place in our relationship.
It was convenient for you. Oh man!
Why is your voice squeaking there?
Huh? It was convenient for you.
Hitting a late puberty stage or what?
So while I was reading, I was listening to the book, and you know, I mean, we're talking about our relationship and everything else, and it's all related, but there was something that was really interesting. You know, like when you listen to the book and you catch something that you didn't catch before, and sometimes it could be just something so simple. And I'll get into that as soon as you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You guys can share it with your friends. You guys can watch the podcast there like we were talking about before. You guys can listen to it there. You can follow all of our social media. If you guys go to any social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Parler, Twitter.
All of the above.
The other ones may be coming too. But if you look us up at Opposite Pod, just search for Opposite Pod. Or if you go in the search bar and you just search Opposites Attract Podcast, I'm sure we'll pop up. And you guys can follow us there. And when you go to our website, if you're on the computer or on the phone, if you click the menu button, you'll see the support the show link. When you click on that, you'll see our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase through that link, Father's Day is coming up. We fucking miss Mother's Day because we're horrible podcasters and we never fucking.
It's Mother's Day. I'm the mom.
Oh my God. As soon as we finish the freaking episode or like the next day, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Did we not mention Mother's Day on the freaking Mother's Day weekend podcast? It's so frustrating sometimes. And we're going to do better. Oh my God. Anyway, if you guys are going to do any Father's Day shopping, you guys can do it through our Amazon list, through our Amazon link, and it would help us out. We definitely appreciate it. Like we mentioned before, if you guys search for Opposites Attract Podcast on Amazon, if you type in the word Opposites Attract Podcast shirt, women's shirt, phone, you'll see all of our merch. You'll see the phone cases, the pop sockets, t-shirts, all of that. Now we're going to have some at the event next week that we're going to give away. And also, you'll see a link to Trust Inc. when you go.
See a link
to
Trust Inc.
To Trust Inc. When you go to the Support the Show tab. And Trust Inc. is?
We are a nationwide mobile notary and signing agency. So if you are in the process of selling, refinancing, or purchasing, you can request Trust Inc. to be your signing agency.
Yep. And you can go to Trust Inc. directly by going to trustinkusa.com. We're also affiliates with Pinwheel, which is the best smartphone available for kids. It's a phone that all the apps have to get. The app store is proprietary to Pinwheel, and all the apps that are on the store are apps that keep kids productive. It teaches them languages, teaches them instruments, sports, tracks their health, stuff like that. It's not things that are going to make them addicted to the phone, like games where they're going to have to get new skins and new levels and responding to streaks and social media with the notifications. They can't get access to any of that stuff. All the apps are picked by therapists, counselors, teachers, parents, people that are concerned about kids and their safety. You'll be able to see all of their call logs, text message logs. You'll have GPS tracking. And there's so many different other options that are great about the Pinwheel phone. You guys can check it out at pinwheel.com. You can use promo code OAPTEN all together, all in caps. to get 10% off of a Pinwheel phone on pinwheel.com.
Yes. And if you would like to buy us a coffee or Miguel a whiskey,
Coffee this time.
coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee/opposite-pod.
Yep. Buymeacoffee.com/opposite-pod. And you guys can buy us a virtual coffee there. And
we will give you a shout out.
Yep. We will give you a shout out on the podcast, just like Ian from Superstition Spice.
Yes.
And he sent us some of his spices. Man, I tried out. Did you try out the same one I did?
I tried the habanero heat.
Habanero heat.
It was good. I mean, I just put some on my eggs.
It was good. I put some on my eggs too.
It's good stuff, you guys.
So I tried the other one too. Nothing Wild.
Nothing Wild.
Which is pretty wild. It tastes pretty good.
Yes, it's like everything wild.
Yeah. And then he told me we have the Scorpion Sting here, which I've heard. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard you got to be careful. I ain't scared. But if you guys want to give it a shot, because we support people that support us.
Yes.
And you guys can check Ian out at Superstition Spice. You can email him if you want to check out the spices, superstitionspices@gmail.com, or you can look him up on Facebook.
Yeah.
And
good
he's
stuff.
on there.
Good stuff.
Thank you, Ian, for supporting the show.
Yes, yes. So if you want to spice up
your life,
give him a ring or send him an email.
There you go. So one thing that I listened to in this book that I caught this time, look at that. I think this is the first time where I get through the ads and I get right back to where I was. Every other time I'm freaking lost.
He's like, what was I saying?
What was I saying last time? But yeah, so this time when I listened to the book, there was something that I caught, and it was something so simple.
Mm-hmm.
But they said that you needed to be loved, or you needed love before you met your partner or whoever you're with.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to be loved before you ever met them. So that's why the 5 love languages work, even if you don't want them to work, even if your spouse isn't interested. Mm-hmm. Because they may be cold.
And when he says not interested, what it is normally, the couples, when they start the 5 love languages, there's couples that will do, read the book together, talk about what they're reading, or go to counseling together. And then you'll get a spouse who's just not responsive, who does not want to go to counseling, who does not want to read a book or to listen to a book. And that's what he means by that.
And you know what? And before, in the past, I used to think like, if maybe not always, but I did think like, if you have a spouse that isn't willing to even listen, I don't know what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to work.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But when you start listening to the 5 love languages and you have some experience with it, and then when your wife wears you down, it changes your mind. I'm just saying, but when they said that, like, it was like, that's true. Like, you needed to be loved before you ever met whoever you're with. You had a love language even then. Mm-hmm. So that's how that it can work, even if your spouse isn't like trying, your spouse isn't even trying to, get into it, or isn't interested in learning about it or whatever. If you can figure out their love language, you can bring them around.
With us, even though we, the 5 love languages was our foundation.
We really need to be sponsored by the 5 love languages.
I know,
what the hell, man?
Listen, Linda. Linda's. It would not have continued to work if we didn't look within and learn to love ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we had to take time to look within. Yeah. Because if I don't love all my imperfections, right? Or if I don't love myself, I'm going to look for fulfillment outside of me. And I'm going to expect you to make me happy. I'm going to expect you to bring that peace into my life, that joy into my life. But when you have that within, it pours out, and you are just the cherry to my cake.
You know what? That
like,
reminds me.
You have to be whole.
That reminds me of something else that we've talked about too. It kind of leads into something else, but the expectations.
Yes.
What do you think? How have your expectations changed from the beginning of our relationship to now? What do you think? Do you think they've changed, or has your perspective changed on the expectations that you have of me? Or
my expectations have changed all the way around.
Or your thoughts, or even your view of
Yes,
expectations.
yes. Because if you expect, like, I can't expect you to treat me or fulfill, and I can't expect that from you. That's unfair. Like, if I'm going to do something for you, or if I'm going to, go out of my way to do something for someone else, I can't expect that someone else to, hey, thank you, I really appreciate, you know what I'm saying? It's like, when you do something, it has to come from within because you truly want to do it, not because you expect someone to give you recognition, or expect someone to give you a shout out, or expect someone to love you just because. I don't know. You understand? Like, I have friends that I haven't talked to in a while. And when I call them to say, hi, I've been thinking about you, and they don't answer their phone, but I leave a message or I send a text, it's because they're on my heart. And if they don't respond, like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that because it was just me thinking about them.
There wasn't an expectation.
Exactly. I'm doing this because this is who I am. And if I don't get anything, I don't know, but though, that's just how I feel. That's just, if I do something for someone, it's not because I want them to do something for me.
I think there's a lot of, I don't know, maybe like a lot of different angles or
different
ways to see expectations, because there's expectations kind of like what you're talking about. Like, if you call somebody, or if you give somebody a gift, or you do something for somebody and not expecting something back. Right.
So there's that expectation.
But then there's also expectations around the house. Expectations that you have of me as a husband, as a father. Expectations that I have of you as a wife, as a mother. And
like, I expect you to be faithful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I expect respect. Yeah. Right? Like, because I respect who I am.
Yeah. And those things should be expected, I think. I don't like certain expectations maybe you shouldn't have, but then I guess, like, maybe it's almost like out of respect for yourself. Right? You have to have some of those other expectations.
Right. And but if the other person is not, I'll just give an example. Okay, so my mom had 4 children. She had 4 of us. She got pregnant at a very young age and had my sister at the age of 13. Okay. My mom did not graduate from 8th grade. She didn't go to high school, right? Yeah. I can't expect my mom to teach me about finances. I can't expect, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I can't expect her to teach me things that she is unaware of, if that makes any kind of sense. I can't expect her to be the mom that I want her to be. Because
she's not at that point.
Exactly.
She can only do the best with what she has.
So
or where she's at.
The way I love my mom, like, I love her for who she is. I expect her, or I respect her for who she is. I meet her for where she's at.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how I show up. Because if I expect to have a conversation with my mom on a level,
damn,
it's not fair. Like, I have conversations with my mentor, Sandra, that's 76. She's a psychologist. She has a PhD, and her and I can get into some real conversations about parenting, about finances, about how I think about certain things, and then she will tell me, well, I can see why you feel that way, but this is how I see it. Like you know what I'm saying? I can't have those conversations with my mom.
Yeah.
And at times it's like, I wish I could, but that's not where she's at. And that's not who she is.
Yeah. Now, what about if I'm not saying that, just a hypothetical situation, but what if your mom knew better, or you thought she knew better, but still didn't like really care or didn't act in a way that was appropriate to what she knows? Like like when you know the right thing to do, but you still don't do the right thing.
How many times have we done that?
We have. Well, look.
We know we shouldn't be eating that damn hamburger.
But well, we were just talking about the expectations, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is different than the hamburger, but we were just kind of talking about the expectation. Maybe I'm just working out some of my own shit in my head right now. But
let me counsel my husband right here.
Well, kind of like what you were talking about. Like you said, you go to your mom and you understand where she's at.
Right.
We're talking about expectations also.
Right.
And you can't expect more because
she doesn't have that to give.
Yeah. Now, I'm thinking about myself now and my relationship with my dad. To me, I feel like maybe he does know better in certain things. Maybe not.
Right. You are.
Maybe I'm assuming.
Exactly.
And because I'm assuming, I have a certain expectation. Maybe I shouldn't have an expectation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this is confusing for everybody listening.
No,
but
people get it. They understand.
That's just something that I struggle with. Maybe that's what it's my own. Maybe it's my own expectation.
When you assume, that's where you get yourself into trouble. My thing is, communicate.
Yeah.
Come from love. I've had conversations with my mom.
True.
And I know where she's at.
You know what?
And I know that she can't, and it is what it is.
I think this is something that I'm going to do. Like, because I've talked to you about it. And I have felt this way in the past. I haven't talked about it a lot on here, but I've kind of gotten into it a little bit. Maybe not so much, but I've talked about some of the things that have happened in the past, with my dad and some of the things that I saw growing up. And, some things were good. Some things were not good at all. But there was something when I was growing up that I do remember that I was always told that you're the most important thing in the world, that there's nothing like you're my son and there's nothing more important in the world to me than you.
Right. And
it's one thing when you hear it as a kid, but like we said, like the actions speak louder than words.
That's right.
And once you start getting, as a kid, you believe it. Hook, line, and sinker, you all of it.
Yep.
But as you get older, you start seeing that the actions don't match up with what they were saying. And you know what? This is my experience, the way I see it. There may be things that I'm forgetting. But there was a time that I told you I was having some stress with the relationship with my dad. And it's been that way for a while. Mm-hmm. But I told you just out of respect, because I can be cold and just cut people off. Mm-hmm. But out of respect for my dad and everything that we've been through and him being my dad, at the minimum, I should have a conversation with him. Yes. Like fucking get the balls, sack up, and just talk and explain
have a loving,
exactly, respectful conversation. Yeah, but it's not an easy conversation. It's not an easy conversation to have. Nobody wants to have those conversations.
Not at all.
But I think out of respect for my dad, like I have to at least say something like, "Hey, this is how I feel. I may be wrong. What do you think?" And I mean, at the end of the day, what could happen?
Right.
What could happen? I mean, it's not like it's going to get worse or bad or anything. You know what I mean?
And those are the conversations that we grow from. those are the conversations that we have to have.
Because the other thing is that the way I saw it was like, it was not fair. It was not fair to my dad for me to have these feelings and keep them to myself for such a long time and not say anything.
Right.
And not express it.
That's right.
You know?
Right. Because, yes. I mean, you and I, imagine if we never had those tough conversations.
Yeah.
Those tough conversations led us to where we are today. If I held everything I was feeling inside and allowed myself to assume and to think why you were acting the way you were acting and not looking for answers, we may not be sitting here today.
Right.
And that's what a lot of us do is we assume. We avoid those tough conversations like a plague, right? We don't want to talk about them. Because they're
it's
tough.
Uncomfortable, like we talked about.
And
Nobody
who
wants to do anything uncomfortable.
Right. But to start a conversation that way, you have to come from love. You have to come from respect. In order for that person to hear, in order for that person to listen, in order for that person to allow that seed to be planted the way it's supposed to be planted. Because even if he doesn't really, because a lot of us have egos. A lot of us have a lot of pride to where even when the conversation comes up, we may feel a bit attacked, even though we're coming from love and respect, and we may shut the conversation down. But I can tell you that once that phone hangs up, that seed of truth has been planted.
But yeah, it has to be done in a certain way.
Yes.
Because if you come at them,
yes,
that seed's just gonna get.
Right.
It's nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
Nothing's going to happen because it's going to be resentment, defensiveness, and they're not going to listen.
Yes.
Like, who the fuck do they think they click? And that's it. It's over.
Right.
But if you come at it and in a different way, something that I was listening to just before we started the podcast, in the 5 love languages, there was a story that they were telling. It's not exactly the same, but it's just about saying things in a different way, where the wife wanted the gutters cleaned on the house, and she was telling it, hey, aren't you going to clean the gutters this weekend? I've been telling you to clean it for like the last month. Instead of just approaching it like, hey, I know you have a lot of things going on and you're always really busy, but if you can find some time, the gutters could use some cleaning. I know you got a lot going on or whatever. Yeah, but I can't remember exactly how they did it, but it's just a different way to bring it up.
Yes.
So that it's not like coming,
so it's not
attacking
like
them.
Nagging, right?
Exactly.
Like, who likes to be told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it?
And
nobody.
The other thing, kind of like I was talking about the conversation with my dad, when you have a conversation like that, I think if you get angry or emotional, that's because you probably have some expectations.
Yep.
Whatever you were expecting to hear back or to happen isn't happening.
Right.
So now you're getting angry.
Yep.
So at least for me, like I kind of already know, like if I or when I have to have this conversation, there is no expectation. It's just like, hey, I'm going to say what I need to say. He can respond and say whatever he needs to say. But, and you know what? Right now, even in the moment, like I'm thinking, I have to keep an open mind. Because if something is said that pisses me off, I probably need to listen. Like, why is this pissing me off?
Yes.
Because maybe he has a point. Maybe there's something that I'm not even paying attention to, or that I've tucked away.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
But out of respect, I need to have that conversation.
Yes.
With no expectations, just to try to clear some things up.
And that's why it is imperative that we all slow down. Like, we all slow down and start paying attention to what's happening within. Pay attention to those thoughts. Pay attention to those emotions, because those are alarms, right? Yeah. Those are alarms going off.
Why am I getting mad?
Yep. That are trying to wake you up.
That's my main alarm. Why am I getting so mad?
There is some healing that needs to take place. There's a tough conversation that needs to be had. There's some reflection, right?
Yeah.
Like reflecting that needs to take place. All those are alarms that are going off. And if you just tuck them away or pick up a beer or whatever it is you do to numb your feelings, if you continue to do that, it's going to fester. It's going to linger. It's going to seep in. And you're thinking that it's gone, that it's been tucked away, that you forgot about it. And trust me, it comes out. And it comes out in a way that you aren't even aware of, right?
Yep. Yep.
It could be in your parenting. It could be in your marriage. It could be in your finances. It could be having a little too much to drink, a little too much to eat, a little too much porn, whatever it is. It's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's coming out.
Yep.
What goes in comes out. And your subconscious is very aware of everything that has happened to you and that has taken place.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about all of this at our event next week. There's only 2 tickets left. There may not be any tickets left. So if you guys are listening to this, you guys can check, and hopefully I don't know. Hopefully not for us, but hopefully for you guys, there's 2 tickets left.
But what you can also do, because we are going to have future events, and if we get tons of requests from a certain state, maybe we'll take a flight. Anyways, if you go to our website, right, www.oppositesattractpod.com, and you wait for the resource list to pop up. Okay, wait for that resource list to pop up. Put in your first and last name and your email, because we are going to start sending out, when we're having live events or something's happening, you're going to be the first to be notified. So make sure that you go to our website, download that free resource list, by the way, that has books and audios and all this good stuff that has helped us rekindle our marriage, become better parents, get out of debt.
And not only that, but there's somebody that I follow on YouTube here recently, and they've been having a lot of issues with the social media companies, the tech companies, and, sometimes they shut things down, or they take things down that they don't agree with, or whatever. We've had a podcast taken off. And if for some reason somebody decides that they don't like us, we are at the mercy of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everybody else.
Right.
And if you guys would like to stay in communication with us, if we get taken down of any of these platforms, the best way to do that is to sign up for that resource list, and then we can communicate
so that we
directly
have your contact information
with nobody else.
Yes.
Keeping us from each other. but the other reason for that is to kind of bring it all back around. In the beginning of the podcast, we were talking about how we went to the kava bar that we're going to have our event at next week.
Yes.
And we ran into Karina, our old associate.
Yes.
And one of the first, people that we were working with in Legal Shield.
Yeah.
And I think she's a good example of those people, like the community that we had in Legal Shield.
Yes.
And when we go back and think about it, we had this relationship with our team.
Yep.
It wasn't like, we were, I've never looked at it like we were the leaders, but whenever I've been put in a position where I have to lead, I've always kind of made it so that, like, look, I've just been put in this position.
Right.
But we need to work together.
Yeah, this is our thing. It's not my thing.
That's the way I've always seen
our
it.
thing.
And with our associates, with our teammates, with everybody that we've had, it's always kind of been like, yes, we do benefit from other people's success. But that's not why, like, we want them to have success. Because we want us to benefit.
No.
It's
we
like,
want them to win.
We want to see them win. And if we win because you're winning, then cool.
Man, then we win together. And that's just it. Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at doing with our community here.
Yes. No, for sure.
Like, us having success is cool. But having success with all of you guys out there and helping each other, because like we said, I mean, we're just we're not any different than anybody else. We're just putting it out there.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
you guys have your own experiences. We can all learn from each other.
Yes, yes.
And that's how we all
get better together.
Right?
Yes.
So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we talked about, share it with the people that you know. You guys can watch it there, listen to it there. You guys can support the show there.
Yes. So thank you all for your love, and thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
together.
Bye.